Hello and welcome to Kent's Night live here on KMTV. I'm Megan Shaw and here are your top stories on Tuesday the 7th of April. Fatal skydiving investigation. A man in his 50s dies after jumping from a plane at Headcorn Aerodrome.
I'm here at the Headcorn Aerodrome to discuss the details of the incident that happened yesterday.
Cutting down on knife crime. A school in Medway uses virtual reality to learn about the consequences of carrying a blade.
All this over me asking him to stop bullying my friend, and I was thinking, like, what if I die here today? Like, what if I don't see my family when I get back home?
And Autism Acceptance Month. We're joined by Kelly Milano from Club Awesome to talk about why April is so important for the autistic community. But first, a skydiver in his 50s has died after jumping from a plane at Headcorn Aerodrome near Ashford. Emergency services were called to the scene yesterday. The death is currently being treated as unexplained, with an investigation now underway. And to give us more details of this incident and eyewitness reports, Kristen Hawthorne joins us now live from the scene. So Kristen, tell us, what do we know so far?
Yes, well, yesterday morning a plane was seen on the flight radar leaving the aerodrome at 8:36 a.m. in the morning, later landing again at 9:24 a.m. People gathered near where the planes were parked in a nearby fields, and the airfield's fire and rescue vehicle was also there. A police spokesman has confirmed that the force was called at 5 minutes past 10 following a report that the body of a parachutist had been located near the area. Officers then attended the scene where a man in his 50s was confirmed to be deceased. Forensic teams from Kent Police were at the scene late into the evening, and flights were halted throughout the day on Easter Monday as emergency services were called. So at this stage, Megan, the death is currently being treated as unexplained, and an investigation is underway in liaison with the regulator British Skydiving. A report has also been completed for the coroner.
I see, Kristen. And there were also a handful of witnesses there at the time. So can you tell me what they said?
Yes, so there was 5 eyewitnesses at the scene. One of those was Lucy Barrett, who has been speaking to Kent Online. In her statement, she said that she was preparing for a skydive at 9:30 a.m. when she was told by the operators Go Skydive that it had been cancelled due to a fatality. She said, "There's 5 people in our group and we saw what looked like a person falling and the chute did not open. We were in the next jump and I was trying to get in the right headspace to jump. I did not believe that it had happened and I was trying to keep myself composed. There was a woman who was really upset about it and we were trying to calm her down. There was a search and only 5 of the 6 parachutes that should have been there were found. We weren't told who died, but what I gathered was that it was a man who had around 10 years of experience in skydiving."
Thank you, Kristen. And what statements have been released so far?
So far, the statements, a spokesperson for Go Skydive said that we're aware of the incident involving the solo club skydiver at a drop zone in Headcorn. Our thoughts are with those affected. They would like to express their sincere thanks to all emergency services and on-site teams for their swift and professional response, as well as to the ground staff who are assisting at this time. At this stage, we're unable to provide any further information, and we will continue to cooperate fully with the appropriate authorities. The Air Ambulance Service and the Air Accidents Investigation Branch have also been contacted for comment, but we've not heard back from them yet.
Thank you, Kristen, for bringing us that story, and we'll follow that one as it continues. Next, this evening, the government is set to launch its plan to halve knife crime within a decade. They'll unveil the Safety in and Around Schools Partnership, a plan to invest £1.2 million to support 250 schools in areas of high knife crime. And last week, the Minister for Crime and Policing visited a school in Medway to educate students about knife crime in their area using virtual reality. Nila Mohammed has more.
In a school hall in Medway, students are stepping into a different reality, one that's designed to help them make safer choices in the real world. Using virtual reality headsets, students experienced a scenario that explored the serious consequences of carrying a knife. And this is a bit of what they saw.
Yo, this is getting out of hand. And now they know I'm carrying. They expect me to use it. What am I going to do?
The education that the kids have had today, really interactive, really powerful, is really important because it teaches you that if you carry a knife, you're actually going to be less safe. And look, we have a long way to go. Knife crime has been on the rise for a long time. It's now going in the right direction, but there are lots of different interventions that we have to get right. We have to do the policing. We have to catch the perpetrators. We have to put them away. We have to make sure they're getting the justice that the victims deserve. But we also have to think about how do we prevent these things from happening in the first place? How do we support the people living in areas where there is violence?
But for Martin Kosser, who lost his son to knife violence in 2023, the government could be doing more.
So a lot of the stuff they're doing at the moment are targeting areas with higher rates of knife crime, which I understand. But I think what we've got to do is look at the bigger picture and look at areas that aren't struggling as much at the moment and get in there and attack it before it becomes a problem. You know, let's not be reactive, let's be proactive. So I know that's going to cost more money, but when lives are being lost, surely that's a sensible investment.
The table discussion gave students the opportunity to voice their concerns over knife safety, especially after taking part in the VR activity and chatting to the minister and Martin about Charlie's promise. But what kind of things have these students been witnessing?
Well, it all started when my friend was being bullied in school. So I heard about it. I didn't go out there and start on him. I asked him politely, can you please stop bullying my friend? It's making him really, it's making him depressed. He's been bullying for months. And he was like, oh, why are you coming over here starting from me? What, do you want some, yeah? And I was like, no, I've just asked you to stop bullying my friend. And they was like, all right, come meet you after school then. I was like, okay, that's fine. So I met him after school, had a fight with him. After the fight was finished, he got a pair of scissors out of his bag, grabbed them like this, and started swinging for me. I've got the scar on my hand there and there from where he had actually swung at me. So what was going through my mind, I was thinking like all this over me asking him to stop bullying my friend. And I was thinking like, what if I die here today? Like, what if I don't see my family when I get back home?
And have you witnessed anything yourself or experienced anything?
Yeah, right in front of me, two people with both backed out knives. And it was just, I called the police straight away and they came and both arrested them both. And not even long ago, some other guy was backed out, like, a knife about this long. It's not safe.
With the government providing funding for schools in high-risk areas, will they finally cut down on knife crime? Naila Mahmoud for KMTV in Raynham.
Now, if you or someone you know has been affected by the topic of this report, you can reach out to any of the charities on screen now. Now, households across the county are set to face higher bills this month, such as water and council tax, as Tudor Price has been telling us. Thank you so much for joining us, Tudor. So, first of all, now the age to claim your state pension is 67. So can you tell me what that means? Because it's quite different depending on when you were born, I think.
It does. It mainly affects people sort of between 1960 and 1961, 62, that sort of area. It will be phased in over the next year, so it's not going to come in straight away. So depending on where your birthday was as to when that sort of comes into play. So there are some slight adjustments to be made around this going forward. So the triple lock really is a means by which you sort of calculate the rate of increase. So it takes into account not just inflation, but it takes into account other measures as well. So the consumer price index and other elements. And it brings together three measures and say, right, okay, collectively, what's the highest of these three? That's the one that's going to be applied. And of course, because we have so many more people now who are of pensionable age, it means it's costing the government quite a bit of money. And then we know the government are looking to see ways to make minor changes. And actually, even a small change to the triple lock will actually free up several billions. And of course, that money could possibly then be spent with the NHS or also defence or other areas of the economy.
Of course, April is a time where, unfortunately, lots of bills go up. So we're seeing council tax raised by almost 5% and water bills going up as well as energy, of course. So what can people do, to kind of mitigate these increasing costs they might see in April?
Well, sadly, they're sort of doing what they should do, really. And this is one of the consequences of foreign policy in the Middle East. We've seen what the US is doing and the impact it's having on oil, which in turn means petrol pump prices go up. But also the cost of shipping goes up, which means that the products that were brought by the ships and by the lorries is now more expensive to get into the shops. And so all of that has a knock-on effect. And of course, what that does is that people then think, actually, I'm going to keep the pounds in my pocket. I'm going to be a little bit more frugal about my sort of spending choices. I might not go out to dinner quite so much. I might perhaps maybe cut back on sort of spending things on takeaways or sort of coffees and things. And so as a result of which, the business community sort of start to see that impact.
Thank you so much, Tudor, for joining us once again and for giving us all the updates we need to know.
You're very welcome.
A man from Ashford has been punished by the courts after marrying his second wife without divorcing his first. Wayne Williams married his first wife, Jodie, in 2007. However, they split the following year without an official divorce. The 45-year-old went on to marry another woman in Maidstone in 2019, failing to mention he was already wed. His secret was uncovered when his first bride decided she wanted a divorce and, after looking him up on Facebook, contacted the second. After the matter was reported to police, Williams was charged with bigamy and later received a 3-month suspended sentence and was ordered to carry out 80 hours of unpaid work. And that's all we've got time for in this part of the show, but stick around as we'll have Maisie Walker giving you the sports news, the weather, and Kelly Milano talking about Autism Awareness Month. Hello and welcome back to Kent Tonight, live here on KMTV. Police are searching for two men following the fatal stabbing of a 19-year-old in Whitstable. The authorities are looking to locate two men, Kieran Barnes and Tobias Ajabaye, as they believe they could assist with the murder investigation of Ashton Harrington. Harrington died following an incident in Belmont Road last Friday in what police believe was a stabbing attack. Police have asked anyone who may have any information that could assist the investigation to get in contact. His family have since set up a fundraising page with proceeds going to Safer Kent, a charity that aims to prevent crime and antisocial behaviour. An arsonist has been put in prison after starting a fire below a block of flats in Chatham. This was the aftermath of a fire Michelle Sutcliffe started in New Road, causing several cars to go up in flames. 40-year-old Sutcliffe had entered the parking area just after midnight on December the 13th, setting fire to a pile of rubbish before walking away before the fire spread. She was later charged with arson with recklessness as to whether life was endangered. She pled guilty and received 2 years and 2 months at Maidstone Magistrates Court. 6 men from across the Medway towns have been imprisoned after raiding a house in Coxheath armed with weapons. Described by the judges as an invasion, 5 of them wore masks and had a machete and crowbar and will serve a total of 67 years between them for their crimes. And Finn McDermott joins me to tell us more. So Finn, first of all, can you just talk us through the details of the raid?
Absolutely, Meg. We've got the 6 men involved in the raid here. Of those 6, 2 of them, Keith Cranley and Darren Adams, they provided transport to the property in Coxheath, which, according to the judge and according to the court proceedings, was specifically targeted for this robbery. While Daquan Samuel, Ainsley Lewis, Jean, Solomon Howard and Tyrese Johnson were some of the 5 masked intruders who forced their way into the home. Now, the house had a few occupants. It had the brothers, Dean and Ben Sharp, along with Ben's partner and a 6-month-old baby, all who were staying there. The 2 men were attacked by the 5. Ring doorbell footage was found and showed in court, showing them entering, the sounds of breaking glass and screaming as they were attacked. Fast forward to last October, where 5 of the men denied a charge of aggravated burglary, but they were all convicted after a 5-week trial. Johnson, the 6th man, having pled guilty last May. Then they, last Thursday, at Maidstone Crown Court, heard that sentence of 67 years between them for what the judge called a significantly well-planned, well-organised joint venture that left their victims' lives changed forever.
I see. I mean, you've walked us through the court proceedings there as well. So what was the impact on the family?
Well, the impact on the family, as I say, they were attacked. Dean Sharp, was hit with weapons to his head and his arms in what he called a savage attack. In court, he said, "I will never come to terms with what happened last night. That night, we were visiting for my daughter's first Christmas. It was meant to be a special time for all our family and to enjoy. Instead, it turned out to be the worst time of our lives, and Christmas will never be the same again." So it really speaks to the difficulty and just how hard it was to deal with this specific crime.
Of course, Finn, thank you so much for bringing us that story. And now, let's take a look at the weather. Tonight's weather is looking mostly cloudy across Medway, lows of 9 in Dartford, highs of 12 in Margate. Going into tomorrow morning, 13s, 14s across the board, lots of nice sun. You can leave your jackets at home. Into the afternoon, really heating up there, 23 degrees up in Dartford and Medway, lows of 19 in Margate, still very warm. And your outlook for the week: enjoy the sun on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, back to some clouds, lows of 13 and 14. And with that sun, will you be watching the latest game? Well, Maisie Walker has the latest sporting news across the county.
That's what we've come for. That's what we've paid our money for. These are the words from Gillingham managers Gareth Ainsworth as Gareth McCleary scored on Monday against Arkington Stanley, coming to a 2-0 win for the Gills yesterday. Look at that. Passed into the box for a sharp 1-2 before absolutely smashing it into the top right corner. The Gills signed McCleary last summer on a 1-year contract, with the option of extending it for another 12 months, and manager Gareth Ainsworth must decide whether to take that option up. Staying on football, Folkestone and Victor have been crowned champions after a dramatic season, sealed by their captain's goal. The title win marks a huge achievement and will be remembered as a defining moment for the club. Manager Jay Saunders said, "I remember Locchio's goal going in and it was almost like relief. You know you're going to get across the line and you know you're almost there, but when that went in, we could relax." A Dartford sprinter, Adam Jamil, has announced his retirement at 32 years old and has revealed he's been coaching youngsters at Chelsea Football Club before launching his own academy. The three-time Olympian says he's ready for new adventures after a 14-year career. Jamil, a footballer before switching to athletics, has been helping out as a speed coach at Chelsea's academy, the club where he started as a boy. And now he's launched his own academy, aimed at helping young athletes and footballers to maximise their speed. Jamil said, "I've been doing it all my adult life, since I was 18 years old. I'm now 32. It maybe stopped meaning the same to me that it did in my 20s, and really competing. And it was my be-all and end-all. I've always wanted to bow out on my own terms, and it seems like the perfect way to do it. So I'm happy."
And April marks Autism Acceptance Month, which is a global effort to promote inclusion, understanding and support for autistic people. And here in Medway, Club Awesome works hard to support children and young people with additional needs or disabilities, including those with autism. So I'm now joined by Kelly Milano, the founder of the charity base, here in Medway. Yep. So thank you very much for joining me. Okay. And first of all, noticeably, it's not Autism Awareness Month, is it? It's Autism Acceptance Month. So can you tell me about that?
Club Awesome, it'll be Autism Appreciation. So Autism Acceptance, we want the world to change, really. We want everyone to embrace that everyone's different, be kind, be inclusive. The world would be a better place, wouldn't it, if we were all just a little bit nicer to each other. I don't know what else to say, really.
And obviously you're doing a lot this month, aren't you, for Club Awesome? You've come dressed for the occasion, so tell us about that.
So my 30 days all started back in 2022. I was dared by one of the young people to dress up for April Fool's Day. I've got ADHD, so I just said, I'll do it for the whole month. Before realising what I'd said, I'd already said it. So I did do the first 30 days in fancy dress. Had lots and lots of fun. I danced by the Wacorn statue dressed as a traffic cone. I was a whoopee cushion. We're 10 years old as a charity this year, so we thought we'd do it one more time. And today I am a Christmas tree.
Who picks the outfits? Is it you?
Me or the children, young people. So yeah, yesterday I was a carrot. I had very orange skin for our Easter Fun Day. I've been a rainbow, always a rainbow on the first of the month because that's our logo. And rainbow's a spectrum, isn't it? So it's all about, appreciating the beauty that is autism, really.
Absolutely. And I can imagine when you're out and about, people come up to you and they ask you why, and you get that chance to talk about Club Awesome.
Absolutely.
Is that kind of the name of the game, really?
Absolutely. It's to kind of teach children it's okay to be different, really. Who cares what anyone else thinks? So go out and rock the world as you are. And if people ask questions, then it's an opportunity to spread the word.
Of course. And on the screen, we've seen lots of pictures of kind of the activities. We've got one here of the kind of events you run for young people. So can you talk us through kind of the work you do at Club Awesome?
So what do we do? What don't we do? So we've got a youth club on a Monday night. We have 2 sessions, one for under 11s and one for over 11s. We do lots of life skills, baking, cooking, socialising, building friendships. Tuesdays, Saturdays, we have our very own space in Canterbury Street in Gillingham. Do lots of home education, lots of learning like this last term about space. We do history, we do science and technology. All the children would quite like to blow things up, but I promise you, I'm a very sensible adult. We don't do that. We do lots of arts and crafts, but the whole reason there's small groups, so they get a chance to socialise as well as learning. There's lots of laughing, and the children make friends and they learn to trust adults. So that's the important thing. We do a lot of baking, a lot of cooking. What did we make last week? All of our cooking on a Thursday is themed around what we've learnt about that morning. So when we learnt all about Mars, we made red rice crispy cakes. And there's a lot of talking. And if you're having fun, you remember what you've learnt. And then we've also got our own sensory den in Chatham, which is available to hire, which gives everyone a calm space compared to some of the crazier things we do. And then, the karate on a Sunday morning at Strood. We're very lucky. Our sensei's neurodivergent. So he really, really gets the children. And then, apart from that, day trips. We're off to Windsor Castle in a few days' time for a nice exclusive tour. They're taking us around the castle to show the children all sorts of everything. And yeah, lots of fun days and stuff.
That's great. That's
We'll
great.
do
And
loads.
obviously, you know, it's Autism Appreciation Day. We've not got too much time, or as you said, month, I suppose. Would you say the fight kind of for that awareness, appreciation, I don't know, recognition
It's all year
is,
round.
Yeah.
You know, it's nice to have a month, isn't it, where everyone seems to get on board and start talking about it. But really, Club Awesome do that all year round. You know, we make people aware. I'd like to think people are already aware of those that are autistic. They should already be accepted. We shouldn't even have to ask for that. So if we can just appreciate our kids, we'd quite like to change it to Autism Appreciation Year, month, every day, if we could.
Absolutely.
You know,
And
they're great.
for people who might be at home, who might have just learnt about Club Awesome, what would you say? Would you say come along? Would you say get involved?
Come along, meet the team. We're really lucky. We've got a great team. All of our team are adults that have got young people with autism or ADHD or learning disabilities. Hardly ever say no. You don't have to be a member to join us. We've got coffee morning on a Friday morning where we support parents, and I go out to lots of schools and do quite a lot of advocacy. So, you know, there's always an opportunity to stop me in the street, say hello, especially if I'm dressed up like this, you can't really miss me, I don't think. Yeah, just come along, bring the children along. We have a fun time, and I promise you, we will have seen everything.
Absolutely.
Everything.
Well, thank you for joining me. We'll be keeping our eye out for all the events across the month and the year. And you've been watching Kent Tonight Live here on KMTV. Check out our website, but for now, we'll see you later.